The rising sun painted the cockpit glass blood red as Kara's instruments told her something no one else wanted to hear. At 15,000 feet, the desert stretched below in a wide, empty canvas of dunes and rock. 4 strike aircraft cut across the sky in tight formation, their shadows sliding over the earth like blades. Kara Vance, call sign, Whisper 2, sat tense in her seat, her gloved hand steady on the stick, her other hand adjusting the HUD brightness that was already too sharp for her eyes. She tried to breathe slowly through the mask. Oxygen hissed and the hum of the engines vibrated through her bones. The briefing still echoed in her mind. Low resistance expected, no confirmed radar threats, clean strike corridor. And yet her instruments told a different story. Tiny flickers, irregular echoes at the edge of her radar sweep, as though something shifted beneath the surface. Phantom signals, or something worse. Ahead, Falcon Lead, Captain Marcus Hale, guided the formation with steady confidence. His voice came across the channel like it always did, sharp, commanding, and calm. Falcon Lead, maintain course. Level flight. Copy that, Brick answered instantly, brash and loud as ever. Lieutenant Ramos, Whisper's wingman, carried his call sign like his personality. Heavy, immovable, quick to laugh. Brick chuckled. Falcon, I bet the towers got us chasing shadows out here. Nothing but sand and lizards. Whisper glanced at her display again. Another flicker. This time closer. Her throat tightened, but she stayed silent. Tower's voice, Major Eliza Grant, slid across the net from far below, clipped and certain. Tower to Falcon Squadron. Track is clean. Proceed to Phase 2. The words landed like iron. She wanted to believe them, but the unease gnawed deeper. Kara lifted her thumb, hovered over the comm switch. Should she? No. She could almost hear Brick mocking her already. Too cautious, too green, the quiet one with shaky nerves. The desert air seemed to thicken around her. She whispered to herself, inaudible, a habit she'd never broken. That's not right. The HUD chirped, another contact blinked, then vanished. Brick's laughter returned. Whisper, you seeing ghosts back there, or are you just enjoying the view? Her lips parted. She almost answered, almost said it aloud for them all to hear. Instead, her voice fell soft. So soft it died against the hiss of her oxygen. Falcon pressed on, the formation arrowing toward their waypoint. Minutes stretched. Kara's pulse beat against her ears. The radar flickers thickened, like a net forming in invisible air. She swallowed hard. She finally pressed the switch. Whisper 2. Falcon, I'm reading irregular. Falcon Lead, say again. Her words faltered. She cleared her throat. I'm reading irregular echoes. Could be spoofing. Silence hung for 2 long seconds. Then Brick cut in, mockery edged with static. Whisper, your gear's twitchy again. You sure you didn't leave the cap on your scope? A ripple of chuckles followed through the channel. Even Falcon's voice bore a note of dismissal. Falcon Lead. Copy your read. Whisper 2. Hold steady. Probable glitch. The sting burned. She let her hand fall to her lap, fingers trembling inside the glove. They weren't listening. And then the channel exploded. Tower to Falcon Squadron. Abort. Abort now. The words cracked across the net, louder, sharper than anything before. Every pilot froze for a fraction of a second, muscles taut, eyes wide. Kara's chest tightened. Falcon's voice came back, strained, uncertain for the first time. Tower, Falcon Lead. Confirm abort. We are 10 minutes to target. The reply came instantly. Confirm. Immediate abort. Turn south. Brick cursed under his breath, the levity gone. What the hell's going on? Whisper's radar pulsed again, her screen alive with faint but growing signals like teeth in a closing jaw. She wanted to shout, but the words caught in her throat. Falcon gave the order. Falcon Squadron, turn south, execute. The formation began its pivot, banking hard. Kara moved with them, heart hammering, her eyes locked on the radar that seemed to scream silently in front of her. Whatever lay ahead wasn't shadows, wasn't ghosts. It was waiting. And as they turned, Kara knew the next choice she made would decide if any of them came back at all. Her whisper had been ignored once. The next time, it might be the only thing that kept them alive. The abort command echoed, but beneath it came a whisper. Soft, uncertain, yet impossible to ignore. The squadron banked south in tight formation, the desert sprawling beneath them in endless lines of shadow and light. Their contrails arced across the sky, sharp against the pale blue. Kara felt the shift in her stomach as her jet tilted, the straps pulling her down into the seat, the oxygen mask pressing harder against her face. She should have felt relief at the command to abort. Instead, the unease only deepened. Falcon's voice was steady, if clipped. Falcon lead. Turning south. Hold formation. His tone left no room for debate. Brick's reply came loud, almost relieved. Copy that, lead. I'll take southbound any day over pushing deeper into this sandbox. But Kara's screen betrayed him. Her radar sweep lit with faint spikes. Small at first, then clearer, sharper, lined up like teeth in a jaw. She blinked, adjusted her scope, and the echoes firmed into shape. Locks. Not single pings. Multiple. She bit her lip and forced herself to key the comm. Whisper 2, reading radar locks forming. 11 o'clock high, range unknown. Brick's laughter cut across before Falcon could answer. Locks? Whisper, you've been seeing ghosts since we took off. The words stung, but the spikes sharpened. She spoke again, softer this time, almost to herself. Not ghosts. Falcon came back, firmer now. Falcon lead, say again, whisper 2. She drew breath, steady, focused. Multiple spikes forming, range closing. This abort path leads straight into them. For a heartbeat, silence. Then Tower's voice filled the net. Tower to Falcon Squadron. Continue abort. Priority directive. Her command carried the weight of authority, each syllable clipped and final. Falcon hesitated. His jet dipped, then steadied. Tower, confirm threat picture? Negative. Track is clear. Abort path verified. Kara stared at her scope. The tone in her headset shifted, a faint rising chirp, then another, then a third. Her stomach clenched. Missile guidance radars were locking on, their signals sharp, insistent. She keyed her mic, whispering now, the sound barely louder than her own breath. Falcon, I have hard locks. 11 o'clock, 6 o'clock, encirclement forming. Her words threaded through the static, fragile but clear. For the first time, Brick fell silent. Falcon's breathing filled the pause. He wanted to believe Tower, wanted to trust the clear skies. But the tone in his ears was undeniable. The chirp was climbing toward a scream. Spike callouts filled the net as the others began to see it too. Brick, spike at 11. Raven 3, spike high 6. The voices grew tense, clipped. No one laughed now. Falcon's voice came back, taut with indecision. Falcon. Lead to Tower, we are painted. Multiple sources, confirm. Tower's reply cracked like iron. Negative. Abort path clear. Maintain heading. The chirps built into shrieks inside Kara's headset. Her hands tightened on the stick. She shut out the doubt, shut out Brick's silence, even Falcon's indecision. She spoke with a calm she didn't feel, her whisper carrying steady over the chaos. Falcon, if we keep this heading, we fly into a kill zone. Break left now. Trust me. The words hung in the air. For an instant it seemed the whole sky waited. Falcon didn't answer. His jet held its course, the abort path slicing them deeper into the net. Kara's display lit with a warning. Range 20 miles. Closing fast. Her pulse hammered in her throat. She could picture the missiles already waiting. cold steel rising through the air toward them. Her whisper came again, no longer hesitant but firm. "Falcon, break left, break now." Falcon exhaled. The strain in his breath was audible. He knew the protocol. He knew Tower's authority was final. And yet his instrument screamed the same truth Kara had whispered all along. Brick's voice cut in, sharper than ever before. "Lead, she's right. I've got lock at 6 and 11. We stay on this heading. We're done." Falcon's silence stretched until it was unbearable. Then his voice came back, lower, decisive. "Falcon, lead, break left, all wings follow." The squadron snapped into a new arc, banking hard against Tower's order, diving deeper into the pale light. Kara's breath caught. For the first time since the sortie began, her whisper had been heard. But in the silence that followed, the rising tone in her headset did not fade. It grew louder. The first missile was already on its way. The first missile clawed upward, and silence broke into chaos. At 15,000 feet, the squadron held tight formation, 4 shadows racing across the pale desert sky. But every pilot felt the same cold grip close around their chest. Contrails sliced the dawn. The lock tones screamed, urgent and merciless. Falcon's gloved hand jerked over the throttle. His breathing rasped against the mask. For one frozen instant, procedure and instinct warred. Tower's command still echoed in his headset. Abort, turn back, run. But the whisper had already marked the trap. Ahead and behind, hidden fangs waited. "Missile in the air. Range 20 miles, closing fast?" Kara's voice was calm, nearly gentle, but no one mistook its weight. Brick cursed into his mic. "This is insane. Tower said pull back." "Spike 11 o'clock, multiple," Kara answered, her whisper steady, threaded with steel. "Break left now." The tone in their helmets rose, a high, shrill cry. Falcon's mind narrowed to a point. He looked at the sky, then at his radar, then at the edge of his doubt. He pushed. "Falcon lead, break left." The squadron banked hard, wings flashing silver in the morning light. Gravity shoved them into their seats as altimeters spun down, airframes groaning in protest. Below, the desert blurred into streaks of sand and stone. Above, the missile trails bent, seeking. "Chaff! Flare out!" Kara whispered again, guiding them like a hand in the dark. Flares spat from their tails, burning bright against the blue. The first missile curved, hunting the heat, then burst in a white blossom short of Brick's wing. The shock wave rocked his jet, rattling his teeth. He barked a laugh, half relief, half madness. "They're blind," Kara breathed. "Stay low. Drop to 8,000. Falcon obeyed. He didn't even question it now. His hands moved before thought. He knew, with sudden clarity, that she was the only voice cutting through the storm. Another volley streaked upward. 4 trails, perfect lines of death, chasing. The cockpits filled with shrill warnings. Oxygen masks dampened the sound of quick, shallow breaths. "Split, then roll back," Kara whispered the faintest thread of sound. 2 north, 2 west, count of 3. Falcon's throat tightened. He gave the call. "On 3. 1, 2, 3. The formation cracked apart. Jets peeled in pairs, contrails twisting. Missiles chased, sensors scrambled. Countermeasures flared again, dazzling the sky with bursts of light. For a moment, the heavens looked like fireworks over a battlefield. Brick grunted as his jet bucked. A missile tore past, close enough that heat seared his cockpit glass. His laughter died, replaced by a ragged breath. "Son of a... She's right. They're firing blind." The SAM sights below spat fury, but every launch streaked wide, detonating harmlessly in empty air. The squadron wove through the net with impossible precision, following the thread of Kara's whisper. Falcon's jaw locked. Sweat ran down his temple. He felt the drag of G-forces tearing at him, muscles straining, vision narrowing at the edges. And still he heard her, steady, calm, the voice of survival. "Climb now, into the cloud line." He obeyed. Engines roared. The jets rose together, their silhouettes swallowed by thin shreds of early morning cloud. The desert vanished below. The lock tones faded, then died. Silence. Only the rush of air over wings, only the low thrum of engines fighting gravity. The squadron had slipped the noose. For a long moment, no one spoke. Breath hissed through oxygen masks. Hands trembled against throttles. Hearts pounded so hard they drowned out the machinery. Then Brick broke the silence. "Falcon, she saved our asses." Falcon swallowed hard. His voice was hoarse when he spoke, but steady. "All call signs, acknowledge Whisper 2. We're alive because of her." Kara said nothing. She only tightened her grip on the stick, staring into the clouds ahead. Her whisper had cut through chaos, and now it echoed in the silence she left behind. Tower's channel was quiet. The man who had barked abort now said nothing at all. For the first time, authority had yielded to a whisper. Falcon leaned into his mic, voice calm but heavy with truth. "Whisper 2. You have led." And in that moment, Kara's quiet courage became the only reason 4 jets flew on, alive to see another dawn. But survival had its price, and in the silence every pilot knew the story was far from over.